So what does WWE do worse than literally any other wrestling company on the planet? Is it book terribly outside their main eventers? Is it sticking to their guns when they know that something doesn't work? Is it relying on nostalgia to boost ratings instead of creating new stars? No. Wait a minute. Okay, yes, but also no. WWE is the worst at listening to their fans. I mean, seriously, it only happens whenever they think it's convenient. I'm not even going to tell them that they're wrong for it, though. Do you remember Fandangoing? Yeah, me either. Today, though, we're actually talking about one of the few times where WWE has listened to their fans and actually resulted with a great success story. My name is Tony Chacon, this is Couch Potato Lucha Libre, and today we're looking at the transition of Becky Lynch from the last kicker to the man. In the immediate aftermath of the 2018 Money in the Bank pay-per-view, SmackDown was in need of a new rival for Carmella that wasn't Asuka, or accusations that James Ellsworth was the focus of Carmella's character, even though he was. Enter plucky babyface and heretofore ignored member of the Four Horsewomen, Becky Lynch. She'd go on a winning streak and set herself up as #1 contender for Carmella's SmackDown Women's Championship in a match at SummerSlam, won by Charlotte Flair. That can't be right.
The right time, especially in a triple threat match. Golden opportunity was in place here tonight.
Oh wait, it is. And there's WWE doing its great standby. Babyface turning on the heel by attacking the champion after the champion won the title fair and not quite fair and square this time around. You understand where I'm going with this, though. So began the coronation of Becky Lynch as the biggest women's division heel in WWE in the year 2018. With one slight hitch. Those aren't boos. WWE's plan had backfired spectacularly, as those plans are wont to do. Becky Lynch wasn't beating up bubbly and lovely Bayley or fan favorite Sasha Banks. She was beating up what fans assume is Vince McMahon's ideal women's competitor, Charlotte Flair. She's tall, blonde, well, appointed. She's got sharp features, and she looks like a model. Like, by leaps and bounds, she is the least likely person to use to turn someone heel. To the point where you're more likely to turn heel by attacking Ric Flair, which Charlotte has done. So if you're WWE, what do? Well, the obvious choice is you turn Becky Lynch face, and you turn Charlotte heel because you're appeasing your fan base and making a smart business decision. I'll give you a second to stop laughing at that. Obviously, WWE doubled down by having Becky cut a venomous, downright mean heel promo on the following SmackDown, where she ran down how Charlotte inserted herself in the match, how SummerSlam should have been about her and her moment, and how the fans never cared about her. This also backfired.
And you think that after a few nights of praise that's all going to change? Well, no, I don't buy it.
WWE's writers, for all their Hollywood pedigrees, had forgotten that slight detail about villains. They're supposed to be wrong and think they're right. They're not supposed to be right. Becky Lynch had accidentally called out the subpar booking and over-reliance on specific golden children that WWE had been accused of for years, and in no uncertain terms, she'd gained the respect and admiration of the crowd by speaking truth to power. It's not like WWE had this before, except for CM Punk, and John Cena, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. WWE, for their troubles, ignored this. Even on the next episode of SmackDown, they replayed portions of Becky's promo without the crowd noise. Then, after the main event where Carmella lost her obligatory rematch to Charlotte, Becky attacked from behind while the crowd
was just waiting in the wings, waiting for her moment to strike.
Cheered wildly and chanted Becky's name in the most effective face heat WWE has had in nearly 2 decades. Punctuated by the 2 most magic words in all of women's wrestling.
You bitch.
You would think that they would stop trying at this point, but that's not the case. A split-screen interview and Becky attacking Charlotte from the crowd in an actually convincing disguise were all included to the lead-up to Hell in a Cell, where Becky would, clean as a whistle, pin Charlotte to win her title. That's what it says. I mean, far be it for me, not being a Hollywood writer or a pro wrestling booker, but shouldn't a bad guy use, like, evil tactics to win? Use the ropes? For an object? Literally anything that is not beating the champion cleaner than a fresh shave in the middle of the ring? At this point, WWE had figured out that, well, they were wrong, and the fans were right. Kinda. Becky got a "You Deserve It" chant from the Tulsa crowd during her coronation ceremony on the following episode of SmackDown. Then, Charlotte was called out, and they slid both face-heel sliders directly into tweener territory. Is that an improvement? Sure. That still didn't fix the fact that this crowd loved, with a capital Loved, Becky Lynch. She was cheered like she came out in a Tulsa Drillers jersey. That didn't stop commentary from trying to play her as a villain in all of this.
Take the high road, try to show respect to the new champ.
What this is Becky Lynch demanding respect.
Look, I get it. If you're Byron Saxton, if you're Corey Graves, if you're Excalibur, if you are any commentator for a major company, you have to go with what's going on in your ear. But sometimes you have to react to what's happening directly in front of you, because if not, you end up with something like this.
Oh my God!
This feud would continue to rage, covering both the Australian Super Showdown and the semi-main event of WWE Evolution, where Charlotte would lose the last woman standing match and leave the title scene forever. I'll give you a second to stop laughing at that. What would come next is one of the few times in wrestling history that you can say, we were in the room where it happened. On the November 12, 2019 episode of Raw, in the lead-up to Survivor Series, and in the midst of Alexa Bliss using the main event to announce her 5th Survivor Series team member, the cameras suddenly cut to the back, and the man has the baddest woman on the planet in the disarm her, ready to tap. She comes down to the ring, because, Becky Lynch has more balls than 1,000 pachinko machines. The SmackDown women's locker room would attack, leading to Nia Jax obliterating Becky's face with a right, leading to a moment that encapsulated the man in just one frame. Broken nose, bloody face, and Cheshire grin. Unfortunately, she would be out of Survivor Series due to a concussion, which actually added to the mystique of the man, because suddenly the biggest match that hadn't happened in WWE was still not going to happen. Fans, though, would look back on this moment specifically as one that crystallized the man. Becky Lynch would never look more like a badass in one picture than she did right at that moment. It became a meme, it became a Lauren Moran t-shirt, which is great, and an iconic moment, joining the likes of the Pipe Bomb and Austin 316. That is not hyperbole. Survivor Series would come and go, and next up is a main event defense for the man at TLC, which she loses to Asuka after interference from Ronda Rousey. If you're seeing a thread here, I'm going to need you to slow down a little bit. This would lead us to arguably the most important night in the entire story arc of the man, the 2019 Royal Rumble. Surprisingly, the story starts during the pre-show in a United States Championship match between Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. During the match, Lana, one of the announced competitors in the Women's Rumble match, was knocked off the apron by an errant Rusev in the closing moments. Lana would sell an ankle injury from that fall for the rest of the night. You're going to want to keep that in mind. Becky would invoke her rematch clause against Asuka in the opening match of the show proper, going 17 minutes before being rolled into an Asuka lock and transitioned into a bridging Asuka lock. She might be the man, but she's only human, and she had to submit. I know I would. This leads us to the Rumble match proper, where Lana enters at number 28. Or she tries to. She gets about halfway down the aisle before her ankle gives out, and she's on the ground in agony. Nia Jax enters at number 29 and takes out Lana even further, because Nia Jax is a terrible person. After Carmella enters at number 30 by way of winning the Mixed Match Challenge with R-Truth, WWE refs and doctors and official Finley tend to Lana when the man decides to come around. It takes some cajoling, but Finley decides that Becky Lynch can absolutely act as a replacement for Lana in the Rumble match, inadvertently undoing such Rumble competitor canon as Spike Dudley and Scotty 2 Hotty and Curtis Axel, and that sounded a lot more convincing coming out of me in the script. Becky Lynch would last eliminate Charlotte Flair, insert shock Pikachu face here, in order to win the match and go on to WrestleMania. Fortunately for Becky, she would hit a bump on the road to WrestleMania. That being Charlotte Flair. I can't be right. Well, it is. Charlotte was named as a replacement in the main event match between Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship because Becky refused to get her knees checked by the doctor, attacked Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, and then was suspended by Vince McMahon for 60 days, even causing Ronda Rousey to leave the championship in the ring, leading to a match at Fastlane between Charlotte and Becky, where if Becky won, she would be re-added to the WrestleMania match and turn it into a triple threat. Have you ever seen a map to your house that leads you back to your house? That's exactly what this was. Obviously, Becky would win, giving WWE a perfect trifecta of massive babyface moments at WrestleMania 35, along with Seth slaying the Beast in Kofi Mania. Oh, and as an added treat, the triple threat would become a winner-take-all after Charlotte made Asuka tap to win the title on SmackDown on March 26th, knocking Asuka from defending champion at WrestleMania to pre-show Battle Royal. One of those is a good use for Asuka, and it's not the one they chose. In hour 397 of WrestleMania 35, Becky Lynch would controversially pin Ronda Rousey, winning both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships, finally completing the coronation of the man and giving Becky Lynch's heel turn a full justification. Face turn. What would follow are branching storylines, where Becky Lynch would indirectly cause Bayley's 2-long SmackDown Women's Championship reigns by basically serving Charlotte up on a silver platter for a Money in the Bank cash-in, and the single longest reign with the Raw Women's Championship, coming just short of being the first woman in American wrestling to hold a championship for 400 consecutive days since Asuka's NXT Women's Championship reign, and only the second since Sherry Martel in 1988. Granted, when she lost the title, it was under the happiest circumstances. She would forfeit the title into the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match to the winner, Asuka, while announcing her pregnancy in the process.
So you go and be a warrior, because I'm going to go be a mother.
What Becky Lynch did in a matter of just 232 days was turn the wrestling world on its head. For the first time in what felt like forever, there was a bona fide star in the making who fans could hope would be the biggest get in wrestling. People forget that before the premiere of AEW Dynamite in October, Becky Lynch was the hottest thing in wrestling in 2019 and threatened to make wrestling mainstream and fun. While there were stumbling blocks, notably Charlotte Flair being thrown like a blue shell anytime Becky got into first place, Becky became one of the most recognizable figures in the post-brand split 2.0 era. She deserves her time off to be a mother, and if not when she decides to lace up the boots again and not troll us on Instagram with pictures during the Royal Rumble, we as fans should welcome her with open arms. I'm Tony Chacon. This is Couch Potato Lucha Libre. I will see you next time.